Year, new me. New Year's resolutions are something that everyone at some point has set for themselves. And KTIV's Connor Trett takes a look into one of the most common resolutions.
Just about half of New Year's resolutions involve some form of improving physical fitness. And for gyms around the nation, that can only mean one thing: that they're about to get a big wave of new members. Resolutioners is the name affectionately given to people who start a gym in the month of January, and local gyms around the area are preparing for an influx of new members. January can be the busiest month of the year for gyms across the nation, with a higher than average amount of new members signing up.
Everyone who's wanting to make that change, they first start looking at, hey, what's a gym that's around me that I think I can go to? And so we see that increase in memberships, and I'm sure every gym does too.
The gym owners I caught up with wanted to help break the stigma of resolutioners not making it more than a couple of months, and they wanted to enforce that this lifestyle change comes at the end of a long road.
Fitness is not easy. It's a journey, as we say. It's not a one-stop shop. You're not going to get fit in a day. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of dedication, a lot of discipline, motivation.
It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's something longer term. And if they know that going into it, then their expectations would be set to that. Knowing that it's small changes in your lifestyle for the biggest result.
And make sure not to compare your day 1 to another gym goer's year 10.
There's that whole comparison is the thief of joy, in that if you're comparing yourself to someone and feeling lesser than because of that, don't do that. Do your own thing, do your own journey. However, if you see someone that can do something and you want to strive to be able to do that, that's awesome. So, ask that person what they're doing and what you can do to get to where they are.
A long journey that begins with the first step in the door. In Sioux City, Connor Trett, KTIV News 4.